I record and film live sessions, and over the last couple of years, I have been using my trusty Zoom H6 recorder, and it's been absolutely fantastic. I've used it for all of these live sessions.
Morning, knocking around my mind, reaching for a melody that
maybe this time I might stay.
I'm Tom from the Rooftop Studio, and I am an independent artist. I'm a producer, I'm a videographer, and I am a live audio recorder. I have just picked up all these jobs just by trying to be an independent artist. Recording artists live has become one of my favorite things to do. I run a thing called the Rooftop Sessions here, which is a YouTube channel you should definitely check out. And I also have recorded all of these different artists and their live sessions. I've recorded a live session in an aquarium. I've recorded myself on a live session. That was one of the first ones I did for Mahogany. More recently, I've done some work for Mark Wilkinson, who's an independent Australian artist, and I've recorded some live sessions for him, and they're absolutely fantastic. So go check them out. He's a fantastic artist and performer. The H6 has been fantastic to use the last few years, but I've been looking at the new units that Zoom are bringing out, and they've recently brought out the Essential series, and now they've brought out the Studio series. And Zoom were kind enough to send me the H5 Studio to test out. Okay, so the Zoom H5 Studio is definitely an upgrade from the H6, and I'm just going to explain why. They're a little bit different in a couple of ways, but I've been using this guy for the last 2 weeks, and I've taken it out to do a couple of live sessions. The first live session I did, I was testing out these combi jacks and testing out the new preamps, and then the second little session I did later in the day, I tested out the Capsule. The first big upgrade from my H6 to this unit is definitely the preamps. It's got the F series preamps, so you just don't get that noise floor that you used to get on the H6. In some of these old recordings, I actually had somebody comment, they're like, oh, I like the sound of the creek in the background. And it's like, man, there was no creek.
Nothing could go wrong.
That was just the noise floor of the Zoom recorder, which I thought was quite funny. But often when you're recording outside, the noise floor is the ambient noise around you. So the H6 has been really good for doing these live sessions outside, but I do like that I just have a cleaner studio quality preamp in this thing, and I can just take it anywhere. So that's one of the big upgrades about the new lineup. And also using it with the SM7B, that microphone takes a heck of a lot of gain, so it really put it to the test. The H5 Studio has the gain knob, so the new Essential series doesn't have it. Because it's 32-bit, you can actually gain and adjust the file in post, so they're less important as they used to be. You used to have to set them on my H6 perfectly to get a good gain without getting clipping, so that was always really stressful. But now they have it, and it's more of a luxury to have these gain knobs on there, and I really like that it has them. You can just set up your levels, and if you were doing something like, I used to use my H6 a bit for live streaming. If I was live streaming from this and running this audio directly into a phone or a tablet or something like that, I could set the levels nicely with these knobs and just not have to go into the settings too much. I did a little video where I tested out Zoom's new guitar effects pedals. They've got a new loop pedal and a multi-effects pedal, and what's really great about this is I could just plug stereo into this, and you just got your own little recording studio mobile wherever you go. So I set up outside on the rooftop on the sun and just had a little jam with their new loop pedal, and I just didn't have to run any cables out there. It was all just running on batteries, and I could plug my headphones straight into it, and I just had like high quality recording. And I also didn't even have to set the gain, because it's just, it's recording 32-bit, so you're fine. So really handy for just things like that. The most important thing I wanted to test out with this was the preamps, so I hit up my friend Alex. Alex and I, he's another musician, and we often help each other out for content, because when you're a solo musician, sometimes you need someone else to just hold the camera. So we go out and do content days together, and so I hit him up and said, cool, I need to test out this new Zoom H5 Studio, and I need a bit of content for my original artist project. So I could film some stuff of him, and he can film some stuff of me, and we're going to run audio straight into the preamps. I ran my trusty SM7B into the first input, and into the second input, I ran a Neumann KM184 condenser microphone, which uses phantom power. So it was kind of a good test. I had a condenser and a dynamic mic, and the SM7B takes a lot of gain, so it was really good to test that one. And these are the results of the session. I recorded a video of my song, my new single, Red Garden, a little live session at Carriageworks, and it came out really well. I'm really keen to show you guys.
If I built you a rocket ship, we could find our favorite place on Mars, build a home instead of renting it, and make a kitchen out of the spare parts. There might not be any oxygen, but we can hold our breath until we plant a little tree in our red garden, a little place we can sit and watch the stars.
The full video for that session is just here if you want to listen to the full thing. It's all recorded on the Zoom H5 Studio, and yeah, you can really hear the quality. I've kind of pushed the vocal up a little bit in the mix so you can really hear how clear the preamps are, and I've done a little bit of post-production. So if you want to see how I mixed those live sessions as well, I have a video where I'm going through and breaking down how I mix audio from these units too, and how I do my live mixes.
She goes left and you stay right, between the lines of fair and blame. You begin to wonder why you came. Where did I go wrong? I lost a friend.
Okay, the next thing is 32-bit float. I've talked about this in my Rode Wireless Pro video. Those little devices are the ones that set me onto 32-bit float. And ever since, I've been looking for an upgraded recorder that has 32-bit float compatibility. And if you don't know what it is, it just means you can't clip it, which for recording yourself or for working on a client's job, it just gives you peace of mind. You don't have to worry about having a distorted file at the end of it and having to go back to your client and say, I'm really sorry, I had the gain too high. So it's an absolute lifesaver, and I wanted to get it. And even just in the setup, I just plugged both mics in and just hit the red button and you're pretty much ready to go. It's not like so many times you get home from a shoot, and when I started out and you'd have the audio and something would be overcooked or rendered useless. So you just know as soon as it's recording and the light is red and you've got your mics plugged in, you're going to get something pretty usable out of this. So it just gives you huge peace of mind, and it's really handy if you're like me and you're independent and you work a lot on your own, especially recording yourself. Often if you're the person setting up the camera and all the audio, that's when you just forget something small and then it voids the whole session you've done for filming content. So that's one of the biggest things why I wanted to upgrade to the H5 Studio, is just to get that 32-bit float. The next thing I wanted to test is the Capsule on top of the H5 Studio. It sounds really nice. It's a really, really nice X-wide mic. There's an extremely low noise floor, and it's just really good for just recording a real natural live sound. So I'm going to be using this guy in my studio to record some of the more acoustic instruments like my nylon guitars and any things I want to add in. Really great to have, especially for recording demos. For live sessions, I use the XY generally to bleed back in some of that natural ambience and that natural sound of the feel. You can get that live feel back with the Capsule mic. I took the Zoom H5 Studio to Sydney Park to just test out the Capsule. The Capsule's a bit tricky when it comes to recording vocals and guitar because you kind of need to position it perfectly in between. So I just had a go. I thought I would just put the microphone in front of me and see how it went. I'm a very quiet singer, so it's not ideal for me because I don't project too much. So the guitar is a little bit loud, but I thought, why not go to the park, sit in the park, test out the Capsule and record a bit of content, because I needed to put some stuff on my original artist page about my new song. Just to test out the Zoom Studio. Let me know what you think. I'll do a bit of a mix as well. I might even do a dry and then I'll do a bit of a mix and see what sounds I can get out of this. We're not far from the airport, so we've got planes going over every few minutes. I'm not sure how much that's going to come through. It's kind of part of the vibe.
If I built you a rocket ship, we could find our favorite place on Mars, build a home instead of renting it, and make a kitchen out of the spare parts. There might not be any oxygen, but we can hold our breath until we plant a little tree in a red garden, a little place we could sit and watch the stars. If I built you a rocket ship, would you make me some space in the garage? I'm pretty good with a Phillips head. You're pretty good at making things less hard. And once we're over the moon again, hold my hand, touch down among the stars. We'll take a walk in our red garden. We'll be the closest we've ever been so far.
As you can hear, the guitar is much clearer than the vocals just because of the proximity of the guitar to the microphone. I was able to record without a wind cover because it was pretty much still, which is perfect. It's the perfect day to record outside. For me, I'll mostly be using the Capsule as a room mic to make my mixes and live sessions just sound that little bit more natural. You can get different capsules for this guy. You can get a lavalier wireless unit, which I think is coming soon. There's a shotgun mic you can get, and you can get an extra 2 combo XLR input capsule for the top. That's something I might get for live sessions where I'm doing, 2 or more artists. There's a slot in the side to add in a Bluetooth module. They've improved the battery cover on the back compared to the H6. It's got 2 clips and it's very solid. On the old H6, the battery cover it was a little bit flimsy and would kind of fall off. It's USB-C, takes micro SD, which is pretty standard, headphone dial. It's got a nice backlight display. I really like Zoom's user interface. It's just super clean and simple. I was able to take this unit out for a session just after I got it, and I didn't have to read the manual. I could just open it up, and when I was looking for phantom power for the mic, everything, it just makes sense where they've put everything. It's not overcomplicated. It's got the little control on the side and the enter button, and you can kind of navigate around pretty easily. One of the downsides is that my Zoom H6, I was a bit annoyed with the battery indicator on that because it's just got 3 segments. So when it was down to the last segment, you've kind of got anywhere between a third of a battery and no battery. So I was hoping they might update that. And on the new Zoom H5 Studio, it still has the same battery segments with the 3 segments. So when we were out, I was a little bit unsure how the battery was going to go because it doesn't give you a percentage. I'm not sure, maybe this is just something that they have to have because it's running AA batteries, then it's not like a lithium battery. And you can totally just plug in a power bank to power this thing all day, which is what I'll probably do. And it being USB-C makes that so much easier for me. But I did find it jumped around a little bit. So when I plugged in the condenser microphone and I turned on phantom power, the battery dropped down a whole block, which kind of indicates like 30%. And then later on, when I was at the park and I was using the Capsule mic, the battery level actually increased and it went back to being 2/3 full. And then earlier when I was doing the live session with the 2 mics, giving it quite a bit of gain through the preamps, it said I only had 1 segment. So it's a little bit hard to tell about the battery, but after that entire day of shooting and recording at the park and at Carriageworks in the warehouse, the battery is still on 2/3 now. So the battery life is really great. It's just the indicator that I find a little bit tricky. But I think I'm just going to use power banks and things just to have as a backup in case it's looking like it's getting low. Okay, my final thoughts. I think it's a fantastic recorder and I'm really keen to use it in a lot more projects. Those big upgrades like the preamps and 32-bit are just awesome. And I think if you're looking to upgrade, definitely get a recorder that is 32-bit and ideally those F-series preamps I really recommend. I do have a video where I mix the audio from that live session. So if you wanted to see how I mix the audio from Zoom recorders and make it sound good and make it sound live, then you can follow my process. I am not the best producer in the world. I am not the best musician in the world. I just try lots of things and trial and error, and I'm always learning stuff. So this channel is just about sharing everything I can with you guys, and I hope it helps. I'm really against like gatekeeping. There's a lot of gatekeeping in the music industry where people just pretend that there's some secret sauce to how to do things. I am just here to tell you everything that I do. So feel free to go check out my original artist channel, and if you like anything, let me know. I want to make more behind the scenes videos about how I do things and just help people out. I feel like it always goes around. There's so many aspects to being an independent artist, doing your own production and booking gigs and doing all that sort of stuff. So if you want to know any more about that, please let me know. And if you have any tips about that, even for me, just get in the comments and let me know. I'm all ears. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.